into this episode, just a fair warning that this episode will contain spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. So if you haven't seen the movie, you can watch it and then come back and listen to this episode later. But this will contain spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Eternally Obsessed. This is part 2 of the No Way Home episode where Zoe and I are going to react to your guys' thoughts on No Way Home and then sort of give our last thoughts on No Way Home. Obviously it's not going to be like our last thoughts since the movie is still very new, but sort of everything that we've gathered and processed with the movie over the last few days, sort of just reflect on that and also just have to hear what you guys have to say about the movie. So I did send out a Google form and also asked you guys on TikTok to comment your last thoughts as well. So let's take a look at those. We're going to start off with TikTok real quick, and it's really quick and easy. The first comment I got was from Amazing Nick Anger, who is one of my mutuals.
Yeah, Nick. I met him at the Soups event.
That's so cool. Oh yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, very so nice.
Cool. Yes, Nick's amazing. And the way he just like said one thing, and it was about the way that Ned's grandmother spoke Tagalog made me so happy in the greatest way possible. And I don't know if I pronounced Tagalog right. I probably butchered it. Like, I think that's the way you say it. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. But that's what Nick commented, and I'm really happy for him, honestly. Like the fact that they had, like, I saw a few East Asian like Marvel TikTokers actually talk about this online. They were talking about how the Filipino representation through Ned was actually done really perfectly. Like from the background of the house to the way that his grandma reacted, it was like a very natural way for like a Filipino grandmother to react to whatever was going on in her house. And the fact that they communicated in Tagalog, and it showed Jacob Batalon's like Filipino side as well. And you know, the way they didn't have captions, but instead he translated, like they were really happy with that. So I think it was just, I mean, I can't comment on it was great representation or not, but if other people, like the fact that it made other people happy and, you know, they felt themselves like represented on screen and made them happy, like I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people say the same thing, and I totally agree with you. I think it's great that Marvel recently has been having more representation, and like, so they're speaking foreign languages now in the movies, like in this and Shang-Chi, and it's making it more, I'm not going to say like acceptable because it's always been fine on the big screen, but they're showing it to a larger audience that I would say normally doesn't watch foreign language films. And I think that's really cool. And I liked the grandma, her scenes, the way when she saw spoilers, when she saw Toby and she was just like, hey, I loved that. And
no, I agree. And I think Marvel's like incorporation of sort of the way that they incorporate other people talking different languages into the films is actually really done well. For me, that personal experience came from Eternals, when with Kingo and Karun, when they were talking in Hindi, and the fact that I was able to understand what they were saying, like the same way that people experienced in Shang-Chi when he talked in Chinese, or with No Way Home when Ned's grandma talked in Tagalog. It's the same way I felt when I heard specifically Karun talking in Hindi. I was just so moved by it, and it was just very weird to see it like on the big screen, and like it wasn't just one line, it was like several lines, and yeah, and I don't know, it just made me feel like very included and represented, and it was just a really beautiful thing. And I was like, I could understand what they're saying and I don't even like need the captions. And yeah, I gotta like agree with what you said, and I'm glad that they're doing that, and I was glad that I was also able to feel that. Yeah. So the next comment that we got was from my another mutual of mine, Marin. She said, I spent the entire second half crying. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, same.
I think we all did. I think we were all switching between tears and laughs throughout the second half.
It was tears and excitement. Like that movie was an emotional roller coaster, and I'm still crying. Like I cried the fourth time I saw it. I can't not cry at one of those certain scenes at the end of the movie with Peter 3. His face. The movie's so good, and it's really, I like that it's able to get you all those emotions throughout it without being too like, you have to laugh, you have to cry. And they handled emotions really well. in that movie
Yeah,
for me.
I think the movie was an emotional journey like through the characters. I feel like I honestly cried. I don't know how to explain it. Like I cried when Aunt May died, but I cried at the more happier moments. I don't know, like when I saw Toby and Andrew walk on screen or I saw the three of them fighting, like I was crying then, like tears of joy.
Tears of joy.
Because I was like, this is not real. Like it does not feel real. And I don't think it'll feel real that the fact that the three of them are in a movie until
It'll
we get a
never feel
behind the
real.
scenes. No, until we get a behind the scenes picture of like the three of them or a featurette.
Yes,
Like
I
that's
need
when
that.
it'll sink in a little bit more because you actually see like the actors interacting and then you're like, okay, like
This
yeah,
actually
it
did
was real.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. During those scenes, I wasn't crying. I was just screaming my lungs out because it was, I mean, everyone was. It's so emotions amazing.
No, for sure. Yeah, so I was just like really, but that was yeah, I have to agree. Like this movie was an emotional roller coaster. Okay,
Yeah.
that's it for the TikTok comments. Let's move on to the Google form responses. Let's see what he's about to say. Okay, so the first person to respond was Sarah on TikTok. She is at Sarah Padawan. And this is what she had to say. I thought it totally lived up to the hype, and I was kind of sad all those pictures got leaked a while ago because it would have been so cool to see all of that happen without seeing those pictures or knowing it was a possibility. Loved it though and thought it was amazing. And then I also asked, where would you rank No Way Home in comparison to all other Marvel movies? And she said maybe top 5, definitely top 10. Brought loads of nostalgia. Will probably be a good movie to watch over if the Spider-Man ever goes on Disney Plus.
I think they're supposed to like next year, but I'm not positive.
That's what I heard too.
Like I own them, so it's okay. But
yeah,
but yeah, I totally agree. If the leaks never happened, this movie I think would have been like 20 times better. I still like think it's an amazing movie. It made me so happy, and it's my top Marvel movie as of right now. But if I had no idea going into it that like there was a chance of Toby and Andrew showing up, like I think I actually would have fainted in the theater or something. Like the excitement would have been so much more real and raw. Because I mean, we all knew they were going to be in it. But we didn't like know. So it was still exciting to see them. But if there's like no idea they were going to be in it and no idea that Daredevil was going to be in it, then it would have been like a lot more hype. Like I think more people have, at my last showings I've been to, more people screamed at Daredevil just because they like that was a more recent leak. So less people knew about that than Toby and Andrew. But if we didn't know, I think this would have been a better movie, even though I think it's a great movie if we had no idea.
Yeah, I think the fact that like people still got excited over Toby and Andrew, like I saw some theater reactions and people were screaming, but imagine how much more people would have screamed if we had no idea that they were coming. I feel like it would have been a much more emotional roller coaster if we didn't know they were coming in, rather than if we like saw those leaks and knew that we did and people were constantly talking about it. Like I think would have been it would just been like a much better emotional journey for anyone who's watching. But I also I feel like for a lot of people who are on social media, they knew, because I remember like Brendan Davis in the Phase Zero podcast, he was talking about his non-spoiler review and he said that he went and watched with his mom and his mom was like, oh, I didn't know Toby and Andrew were going to be in the movie. They did such a good job at like hiding those.
Oh, wow.
And then it was so funny because like, yeah, like she wouldn't know, but I
Yeah.
mean, it was everywhere. So
It was all over TikTok, all over Twitter, especially. Like those were places you would not want to be if you wanted no spoilers going in. Still, if you want still if you don't want spoilers, do not go on those places because everywhere it's just spoilers with no warning. It's like it's painful, but like it's fine because I've seen it. But for people who haven't, that would be so bad.
Yeah, I know. I felt I mean, like spoilers suck. Like
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about the movie, that's fine, but just put a spoiler warning. I don't think it's that hard to do it. So yeah.
People who post spoilers without a warning, just like that's an ugly trait to have. Like
Right.
Why do that? What do you get out of that?
Right. Yeah. And I agree with her ranking too, like definitely top 10. I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
And I would love to rewatch it if they ever go on Disney Plus. And right now for me, it's also in my top 5. I know for you, it's your top 1. So
The nostalgia, man.
no, it's I think it's like completely, you have movies, people have movies in their top 1 for whatever reason they want. Nostalgia, doesn't matter.
Yeah, everyone has different rankings. I mean, my boyfriend's favorite Marvel movie is Iron Man 2, which that's very different than where I would put it. Let's just say that. I know. He hasn't watched the entire
my
MCU.
very bottom.
I think it's either my second or no, it's like either I think it's my third to last one, but he hasn't finished the MCU. I'll give him that. But he's seen a good amount of movies. He really likes like the not robot, but like the robot armor on robot armor fighting. But I'm like, okay.
That I like don't even know what to respond to that. So I'm just gonna ignore it because I hated that movie. The only thing that carries that movie is Tony and Nat.
Yeah, Nat being introduced and Don Cheadle being introduced.
Every single thing else about it is the most boring thing to watch in the MCU, but that's a conversation for another time.
I agree.
Okay, next one. Okay, so this is from one of my mutuals, Julia Callows. So she's marvelously Jules on TikTok and Instagram. And she said it's so hard to put my feelings into words, but this movie was an absolute masterpiece, exceeded all my expectations, super ambitious yet beautifully made, an incomparable experience and an emotional roller coaster. I've been thinking about this ever since I saw it. Cannot wait to rewatch it over and over. Literal dream for true Spidey fans, and it's her number one. I think she put everything into the words of how we feel.
Yes.
And specifically how you've been talking about this movie.
Yes, that is like exactly, if I was good at phrasing stuff, how I would put it. I completely agree. Like that movie, just for a Spider-Man fan, for anyone really, like it is a really enjoyable movie. Like as a lifelong Spider-Man fan, that movie was life-changing, amazing. Everything I would hope it would be more, and it was just so beautiful and amazing. And I might be seeing it again today. I have a problem. It'll be my fifth time.
As you should.
So good.
As you should. No, I think you should. I think you should watch it if you enjoyed watching YouTube.
Like the spoilers on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I can watch it. Like I can watch like the spoiled stuff on YouTube that's been leaked. So I just rewatched that for like serotonin. Like I literally watched theater reactions. Yesterday I was folding laundry and watching theater reactions on Spider-Man, like for Spider-Man No Way Home on YouTube. Like it's weird. But that's what I was like.
But it's so fun. Like
right. And it brings me joy. Like what she said, it's an incomparable experience.
It really is.
Okay, next person. Oscar at ug_who_cares on TikTok. And very simple sentence, 10 out of 10, literally everything a Marvel fan / Spider-Man fan could wish for. And for his placement, he said top 5 easily, not sure about the exact placement.
Yeah.
Very solid.
Very solid, totally agree.
I think he hit the nail, and I think for the placement too, I would have to agree. I'm not like it's top 5, but not sure of the placement yet. I don't know. I actually switched my Spider-Man rankings yesterday. No Way Home moved one up, so it's number 2. Into the Spider-Verse is number 1, and nice. Spider-Man 2 actually went down to number 3. So that one went down to number 3. I mean, everything else is the same, but like No Way Home, I was like, the more I think about it, I was like, the more I love this movie.
Yeah.
So it actually went up to number 1. Or number 2. I just think it's very hard to replace Into the Spider-Verse. But if you are looking at like just live action rankings, definitely Spider-Man No Way Home is technically at the top. So
yeah, we got the same top 3. So nice. Yeah. Those are
no, oh my god. Don't interrupt me at all. Okay. The last one is from Oscar, and his Instagram is at Owen Maximoff, and he said, well, there's not too many words to just explain this movie. It's so good, so I'm going to try my best. This movie was a love letter for Marvel fans, especially Spidey fans. They were able to have so many characters and not make it like Spider-Man 3. There was comedy and serious moments. It was balanced, as all perfect things should be. It started great and ended great, especially with that post-credit scenes, and showed the struggles of Peter being in love. Peter showed the struggles of being Peter. I love how they ended the Homecomings trilogy, so I'm excited for the college trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, same. I thought it was so good. It was definitely, I mean, I've been saying this the whole time. It's like a love letter to Spider-Man fans and the character. It is, I think, a really good ending to the Homecoming trilogy. And I am very impressed with Jon Watts, just all this, like he was able to make all these movies and just have such a strong ending for them, that getting all those villains and characters and not having it feel so crammed and overloaded like Spider-Man 3 is really impressive.
Yeah, I think the thing with like I saw a lot of people talk about it, like what made No Way Home work with all these villains and not Spider-Man 3 or The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's because we didn't get those villain backstories like in the other movies. But like before, we didn't get those villain backstories, so it was very hard to
Yeah.
cram all those villains in. But in No Way Home, like
We already
all
knew
the
them.
audience was aware of
Yeah.
the villains, so it worked to just put them in. You didn't necessarily have to explain the stories to them. So I think that's where it worked. And then also, I think we also talked about like the struggles of being like Peter Parker and Spider-Man really showed
Yeah.
through in this movie. It showed the chaoticness of being Peter and sometimes the decisions you make and how that can lead to loss. And yeah, I think it was just a really beautiful movie overall in terms of Spider-Man, Peter Parker. And I want to comment on what she said about John Watts. I was really like intrigued by the direction Marvel took, because normally in the other two movies they always show Peter Parker as like starting sort of out as a nobody and then kind of becoming more of a somebody.
Yeah.
But here it was like he started out like, even though he was a nobody really in like, but the moment he was introduced in Civil War, he literally became a somebody because he was an Avenger, right?
Yeah.
And so ever since we saw him in like Homecoming and like Far From Home, he was considered an Avenger. Like Spider-Man was popular, everyone knew him.
Yeah.
But then towards the end, that's where he became a nobody. So it's kind of like they went backwards, and I don't know how I feel about that really until we see what they do with the college trilogy and like how they take that. But I will say it's a very like good risk for Marvel, and I really like the way that they made the change because it did help us to see Peter Parker in a new light.
Yeah, like it's crazy that this trilogy actually was his entire origin story. It wasn't just like, I don't know, I always just looked at like Homecoming as, the origin, not really origin, but origin for him. And then it's like, actually, no, all of this was setting up more. And I had a thought last night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because remember, they're making a fresh Spider-Man freshman year show. And I just realized last night how much that is going to actually hurt now that it's like, none of the people in this show will remember anything that happened except for him.
I know. Like, it sucks. And it's like everything that happened in Civil War and stuff, and
just
the
everything.
other Avengers, the experiences they had with Spider-Man, even though it may have been small, like they don't know who he is.
This is crazy. Like, will they remember fighting with Spider-Man, or will they just still not know who he is? Or I don't know. I guess we'll probably see that, but I don't.
Oh yeah, because they do know who Spider-Man is. They just don't know who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
Right?
So like, will they remember fighting with him, or like, is the fact that they know who Peter Parker is, does that interfere with Spider-Man? Because like then the things are linked. I don't know. I'm not gonna think too hard about the magic. Don't think too hard. It's a Marvel movie, but yeah,
no one cares.
yeah.
No one cares. But yeah, those are all the responses I got. I feel like I really don't have anything else left to say because I kind of voiced all of it throughout this episode. So how about you?
I'm trying to think. I mean, it really is just an amazing movie, but there are, like we were talking before the podcast, like a couple plot holes that left me a little confused. Like we said in the last one, like Sandman, not like he wanted the box, but it was unclear if he like why. And I do think he wanted to go home but not be cured, because in Spider-Man 3, the only way he could see his daughter was because when he was insane, because like his ex-wife hated him.
Right.
And then the Electro thing that we got all caught up in yesterday, it was at first he wanted to take the powers back, but then he realized he would die if he went back, so he wanted to destroy it and stay there. I'm just like making it clear that I'm just clarifying some things from yesterday right now. And yeah, just the movie is really amazing, and I really, really hope like the rumors that we'll see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire again are true. Like on Twitter, they made a whole thing like for on Christmas Day for everyone to tweet at the same time, like make TASM 3. And I would love to see that movie. Just this movie, it really is just everything I could hope it would be and more. And yeah, I mean, okay, I did say before my boyfriend's favorite Marvel movie was Iron Man 2. And then I remembered after No Way Home, he said it's his favorite now. And he didn't even watch the Spider-Man movie until July/August this year is when he saw them all for the first time. But he was still like as hyped, not as hyped as me, but like as hyped as like most people in the theater seeing it. So I apologize, Ryan, for telling everyone your favorite movie was Iron Man 2. That is such a mean thing of me to say when I just remembered it is No Way Home. Like he never sees a movie twice, but he saw this one twice. And yeah, just No Way Home's amazing. Everyone on earth should go see it. And like, I cannot wait to see what they do with Peter Parker / Spider-Man going on. All three of them. I can't wait to see if there's anything in store for Tobey and Andrew and what they do in the college trilogy.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. And yeah, No Way Home was just a love letter. It was everything. And honestly, these Phase 4 movies, all of them have just been so good in some way. But
Yeah.
No Way Home was truly like one of the best Marvel movies, not just Phase 4, but like one of the best Marvel movies that I've seen in a
Definitely.
while. And everyone should go watch it. It deserves all the
Yes.
love it gets. It deserves all
It
the
does.
records it's breaking. Like everything about it.
Crazy.
I wish that it did not release in this pandemic because I wanted it to break Endgame's record because Endgame is like not gonna lie, but Endgame is a little bit of a mess compared to No Way Home. So
Endgame's a fan service, but done wrong, in my opinion. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it's still
Spider-Man.
like a fine movie, but like Spider-Man did the fan service a lot better.
It felt like a fan fiction, but in a good way. That's what
Yeah,
people have been
yeah.
saying. Spider-Man's fan fiction, and I
It's-
agree, but it's like
I
in a
agree.
good way. But
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much for joining me for part 2.
Of course.
Make sure to check out part 1 if you haven't yet, where we talk about Spider-Man in like full detail and give our thoughts on everything. So yeah, thank you so much for joining, and make sure to follow the podcast, Instagram, TikTok, you guys know, and leave a review if you like this podcast. And I will see you at my next episode. Actually, I think No Way Home's going to be the last episode just because I want to enjoy the holidays and, have a fun time. So have a safe trip, have a safe holidays, and I hope you guys enjoy Happy New Year's. And I will see you actually in 2022 with the next podcast episode.